welcoming you to episode 2 of a new show here on Twitch, a new show on the TommyKay channel, and that is Tommy reviews the 100 biggest battles of the world. Yesterday we had episode 1, a great success with 1 million viewers watching the first episode of the Battle of Kadesh. And today, gentlemen, we're leaving ancient Egypt and we're saying hello to... I hear like 2 songs. The Battle of Marathon, 490 BC. It was the first battle showing the supremacy of Greek weapons. We have the Persians with 21,000 infantry, 2,000 cavalry, 2,000 archers, 600 ships against 10,000 Greeks and 1,000 Batair. It's one of the first battles showing the supremacy of the Greek phalanx. Welcome back to episode 2 of Tommy Reacts to whatever the fuck. We're gonna eat a bit. And let's take a look at the Battle of Marathon. Heroes in General is the best channel, right? I guess. I'm sure historian, actually. Well, I guess we're going with... Oh, Kings and Generals. That's the Battle of Salamis. Yeah. We're going with Armchair Historian, huh? 2 years ago. Let's fucking go it. 16 minutes. I can eat my food. Let's do shitty reaction Andy content. Let's go.
Day on the beautiful Greek island of Euboea. But the city of Eretria...
Just before we go, what do I know? Persia tried to fuck Greece? So, I think even Xerxes the First or something came and wanted to fuck them. And then the Battle of Marathon happened. There was 2 major battles. The Battle of Marathon and the Battle of Salamis. Salamis was more about naval shit. And the Greeks kind of fucked the Persians up. And the battle is famous, and we still call it a marathon nowadays, because there was a guy who had to tell all the other city-states, oh my god, the Persians are fucking us. And he had to run all around Greece, running like a madman. And that's why he was the marathon runner. He collapsed. It was Darius, not Xerxes. He collapsed and died, and so came the name Marathon Runner, I think. Don't forget Gerard Butler.
Eretria is burning.
He announced the victory.
Soldiers maraud through the streets, looting and destroying
I'm going into eating mode. See you later, guys.
Setting fire to houses and abducting any civilians they find to sell into slavery.
We'll take a look at the
Eretria is utterly destroyed, but this act of brutality will not satisfy the attackers' thirst for vengeance. They have one more city to burn.
Athens, right? I'm so happy. Oh.
Hi, I'm Griffin Johnson, the
Hi.
Armchair Historian. Today's
I like
video,
this guy.
the battle.
I also feel like, you know, I think he's sexy. I think this is a sexy guy. I'm not just saying that. I think this is a good-looking dude. You know?
Marathon. A
I have
battle
a big dick,
that
I can
saw
say
the
that.
forces of the city-state
No.
of Athens and its allies face off against the might of the Persian Empire. Pop culture tends to portray Marathon as a glorious triumph of the brave heroes of the Western
But we're staying
democracy,
historical here.
soundly defeating
Looks like you put on
the evil
ginger.
forces of Eastern
Where
tyranny.
all the whites look the same.
But in
Epic, so you
reality, the
racist.
Battle of Marathon was far more complicated, further muddied by many conflicting historical accounts. Now, let's dive in. Our story begins in 490 BCE, the year that Persian King Darius I dispatched an armada of 600 ships carrying an army of 26,000 disciplined soldiers into the Aegean.
What a sight it must
The
have been.
expedition set out to destroy or subjugate
But they probably
several
weren't that
Greek
big.
islands and city-states, but their main targets were the cities of Athens and Eretria. The reason? 9 years before,
look at the empire.
those 2 cities had sent troops and ships to support a rebellion of several Greek
Constantinople so
cities
Greek?
in the Persian Empire, a conflict known as the Ionian Revolt. The revolt was eventually crushed, but not before Ionian
peace with it.
forces captured and destroyed the Persian city of Sardis. The fiery destruction of Eretria was not a random act of aggression, but one of retribution, a city for a city. But Darius's expedition was not solely motivated by revenge. The Athenians and Eretrians had not only helped burn a Persian city, they had presented a challenge to the Persian king's authority. Darius, having spent years securing his throne after usurping it in 522, could...
Yo, sorry for doing that, but yes, I heard HBO is developing a Jon Snow sequel. Sequel means afterwards. They're making a TV show of Jon Snow in the North, right? With Kit Harington. That actually sounds kind of cool, man. Yeah, sequel means after it. That sounds kind of cool. I don't know. But I think Game of Thrones will be like Disney now. They just make 10,000 TV shows to make money.
Not let such a challenge stand. He demanded payback. The army he assembled to do the job was led by generals Datis and Artaphernes. Consisting of light infantry and heavy cavalry, the Persian troops were drawn from all over the vast...
Dude, this makes me want to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey. According to a relief on the tomb of Darius I, 30 distinct ethnic groups were represented in his army. Oh, man.
Multicultural Persian Empire. Before pursuing their main goals, the Persian force spent some time island hopping across the Aegean Sea. Beyond simple conquest and securing supply lines, taking the islands allowed the Persian generals to engage in a bit of propaganda. After burning the defiant city of Naxos and enslaving its inhabitants, the Persian fleet sailed to Delos, which surrendered immediately. Datis proceeded to make lavish sacrifices to the Greek god Apollo before leaving the occupied city intact. Soon after, the Persians reached a defiant Eretria, and we all know how that went. The message was clear: surrender would be respected, but resistance would be crushed. After destroying Eretria, the Persian forces sailed down the coast of Attica and landed at the plain of Marathon, about 40 kilometers or 25 miles northeast of Athens. And it is here that the fate of Athenian independence would be decided.
Hey, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is bad, but one thing you cannot talk shit about that game is it looked beautiful. You remember fucking going around the Greek islands and you literally felt like, holy shit, and then there's a dolphin and stuff? It looked good. You can't say shit there. That game looked fucking amazing, man. The weird question is, why did the Viking game look shittier than Odyssey, man? That's a good question.
The Athenians scrambled to respond, hastily dispatching their army from the city to intercept the vast Persian force before it could establish a foothold on the Greek mainland. The Greeks arrived with a force numbering about 11,000 hoplite infantry, 10,000 from Athens, and 1,000 provided by their ally, Plataea. The Athenian soldiers, in keeping with Athens' then newly established democratic traditions, were led by 10 generals, one from each of the 10 tribes of Athens. In addition, there was one senior general, Polemarch, in charge of all.
Like, this shit is over 2,000 years ago, and it's already more ahead than fucking, like, Russia and China.
At this time, the Polemarch was a man named Callimachus, about whom very little is known. Likewise, most of the tribal commanders are unknown, with the exception of a rather famous character by the name of Miltiades. Miltiades was born in Athens in 550 BCE to a noble family, and in 516 he came to rule over a Greek city on what is now the Gallipoli Peninsula in Anatolia. Miltiades served for a few years as a Persian vassal after Darius I conquered the region, but fled to Athens after falling out of favor with the king. Ancient accounts claim that the other generals at Marathon all deferred to Miltiades, given his first-hand knowledge of Persian tactics. But there is reason to be skeptical of this detail. Miltiades' son Simon was a leading figure in Athenian politics in the decades after the battle. With this in mind, it's easy to see why we know so much about Miltiades, and why we should take some of the claims about him with a grain of salt.
I like how he's trying to really stay historical, man.
Arrived at Marathon,
he doesn't go for easy entertainment to get easy views, he fucking tries to be historical. That is worth a lot nowadays.
They quickly moved to block the Persian army from advancing further inland. As soon as they set up their camp, the Greeks
300 part 2,
realized they were at a serious disadvantage. Their army had no cavalry or skilled archers to match those in the Persian army, and they were outnumbered more than 2 to 1. Looking to even the odds, the Athenians sent a runner to request reinforcements from Sparta.
Yeah, he was looking for reinforcements. He didn't announce the victory. That was fake in the chat.
And check your history, the Spartans agreed to send aid, but not right away. An important religious festival was ongoing at the time, and the Spartans couldn't interrupt the festival by going to war without breaking divine law. The Spartans may have taken war very seriously, but they were just as serious about their parties. Therefore, the Athenians couldn't expect Spartan reinforcements for another 10 days. At this point, both sides were reluctant to force an engagement. Despite Persia's superior numbers and flexible army composition, the Greeks boasted a strong defensive position in the hills, with both of their flanks secure. The bristling spears of the Greek phalanx also presented a very persuasive argument against a direct assault. And likewise, the widely feared heavy cavalry and trained...
Just try to imagine you're a Persian fighter back then, and the general says, yo, run into that fucking phalanx, man. Fuck,
archers of the...
I was thinking something. Here we go. TommyKay, the normie, you guys are all historical experts. I was thinking something. They knew how to make... they didn't have alcohol. They had alcohol. I have a question. Why did they not massively use Molotov cocktails in ancient battles? Every time I see these formations, I feel like, dude, just throw a Molotov cocktail. They know how to do alcohol. They have fire. I thought about that the other day. Why don't you just fucking Molotov everything? Some did, yeah, but no glass. You could a vase or something, you know, like a little clay thingy. They only had wine. They didn't have high-level alcohol. Too expensive, maybe. Like, I feel like if I was an ancient leader, man, I'd be like, no, let's make some Molotovs. Throw that into the phalanx.
Persians presented an equally persuasive argument against a Greek assault across the plain. A retreat back to the safety of Athens' walls might have made strategic sense at this point, but it was politically unsafe. Miltiades and Callimachus knew that there was a strong faction in Athens that supported Persia and wanted to turn the city over in exchange for mercy and political power for themselves. The commanders needed...
Politicians haven't changed in a bunch of years, huh?
a decisive victory over the Persians at Marathon to silence these sympathizers. Retreat was not an option, and so the two armies simply waited, staring each other down for 8 days straight. This delay benefited the Greeks much more than the Persians, as every day they waited brought the Spartan army closer, and the Persians only had so much food to sustain their large army.
Oh, good.
What finally broke the stalemate is uncertain. Ancient sources are divided on the details, and modern historians haven't been able to reach a consensus either. We do know two things, though. That the Greeks most likely attacked the Persians, and the Persian cavalry was not present for the battle. The question of where the Persian horses went has been debated by scholars for centuries.
Do they know more about the Kadesh battle than about this one? It's crazy.
There are two main theories. The cavalry was either re-embarked, or it had been sent away from the rest of the army to forage. Equally uncertain is why the Greeks chose to attack when they did. Ancient sources, again, contradict each other.
Herodotus suggests that Miltiades was eager to attack the Persians, but couldn't do so because each of the 10 Athenian generals took turns being in charge of the army, and Miltiades had to wait until his day of command. Every day they had a new commander?
But it is likely that something forced the Greeks to attack, be it the threat to Athens from the Persians re-embarking, or seeing an opportunity in the cavalry being sent away. Whatever the case, the cavalry was gone, and Miltiades seized the initiative. He ordered the army into formation, stretching out his forces to match the width of the Persian line by thinning the center ranks and concentrating his troops on the flanks. The long line and thickened flanks were meant to prevent the larger Persian army from enveloping the smaller Greek force in melee. If the Greeks were surrounded, they would be slaughtered. Having arranged his forces...
What I always think about is when I check these old ancient battles, it's like how this one day, this one occurrence in history has such a butterfly effect, right? Imagine a certain battle goes another way, a whole culture, a whole religion changes forever, man. It's so mind-blowing how small events have such major impacts in the human race. I think in 1,000 years they're going to look at our time and be like, certain things had such a butterfly effect, man. The butterfly effect is very interesting, and you see it a lot in these ancient battles, man.
Promptly began
it's very, very
the
mind-blowing.
The Greeks marched steadily across most of the 1,500-meter or 4,900-foot gap between them and the Persians. Then, upon entering the roughly 200-meter or 650-foot effective range of the Persian archers, the Greeks surprised the Persians by breaking into a full run toward the enemy. Thanks to their large shields, armor, and the momentum of their charge, the Greeks were able to shrug off most of the Persian arrows as they ran, and soon entered melee with the enemy. For a moment, it seemed as though Miltiades' attack would fail, however. Since the Greek center ranks were thinner, the Persians were able to break through the line there and push forward. But the thicker Greek flanks succeeded in starting a rout, allowing them to attack the advancing Persian force from the sides and the rear, enveloping them. A happy accident. Miltiades' tactic to avoid envelopment by the Persians had allowed the Greeks to envelop their enemies instead, and soon they inflicted heavy losses by doing so. The envelopment broke the Persians' morale, and soon a rout among the entire Persian force started. As they quickly began retreating to their ships, all the while the Greeks continued to slaughter them. By the time the Persians had withdrawn, 6,400 of them lay dead, by either drowning in the nearby marsh to escape, or by being cut down in the retreat. By comparison, the Athenians lost a measly 192 men, but among the Greek dead was the polemarch Callimachus, who, according to legend, died with so many Persian spears through his body that he remained upright after death.
The Spartan arrived the next day, having marched 220 kilometers in 3 days. They toured the battlefield, commended the Athenians for the victory, and then went home again.
Though the Greeks had won a remarkable victory at Marathon, they had no time to celebrate. The rest of the Persian army was now sailing toward a defenseless Athens, and the Greeks had to march through the night to make it back to the city in time to protect it.
It's so unimaginable to be a soldier there. You fight, you sweat, dude, you're wearing this armor in the fucking Mediterranean, you're sweating your ass off, you have to march all night to save your fucking wife in Athens, dude. My God, man, that shit was a fucking lifestyle, man. That was the time when genetics and Darwinism still mattered, man. If you were weak, you're fucking gone. Only the strong motherfuckers survive. Nowadays, it's like, let me take a pill, man. Jesus. These guys were some men, bro. Holy moly.
They arrived just in time to see the Persian ships approaching.
Fuck me.
Finding the city fully defended, Dades turned his fleet around and abandoned the expedition, ending the First Greco-Persian War. While the Persian expedition had successfully annihilated Eretria and expanded the territory of the Persian Empire, the surprising victory by the Athenians at Marathon carried huge symbolic importance. The Athenians capitalized—
Look at these idiots and shit! Different climate back then. Global warming didn't— Dude, I want to see you 490 before Christ in full fucking armor. I have a helmet here. Fighting for 6 hours on a fucking beach. You fucking tell me what you think about the climate then, you fucking muppet. You are the people that wouldn't have made it back then with your dumb ass fucking bullshit. Okay, I probably wouldn't also have not made it. I probably would have just— they would have killed me while I was eating. Come on, man.
On this, using widespread propaganda across the Greek world to inflate the importance of their relatively minor victory. As a result, the influence and prestige of Athens grew exponentially after Marathon, propelling them to prominence among the city-states of Greece. You may be wondering by now what this ancient battle has to do with the Marathon race. Well, the legend goes that after the Battle of Marathon, the Greeks needed to let the people of Athens know—
Oh, okay, you won. I'm sorry. He actually announced victory in Athens.
The Persians had been defeated to prevent the pro-Persian faction from surrendering the city. So, they sent a runner back to Athens to announce the victory. The messenger ran a whole 26 miles, or 42 kilometers, back to Athens, proclaimed the Greeks had won, and then immediately died of exhaustion. True or not, the story was compelling enough that 2,000 years later, the planners of the first modern Olympics used it as inspiration for the marathon race. Now that the Persians have been driven off, let's conclude with a word from our sponsor, Squarespace.
To conclude this, let's check this out. I still have some food left. Wow. I never see these graphics in Total War. What? Excuse me? Damn. Looks amazing. So cool when people make videos like this, man. Yeah, dying from a 42-kilometer run, kind of weak. Yeah. That's a normal marathon. Ah, that's why a marathon is 42 kilometers. Oh, crazy. I could already see the YouTube comments, man. Tommy is so stupid. Yeah, you know. I played World of Warcraft when that came in school. I don't even think we had that in school, right? You don't talk about these battles or anything. You talk about, like, Greece and democracy and what happened, but you don't talk about battles like this. Damn. Look at that armor, man. All day long in that armor in the heat. Fuck, man. Damn. That looks so cool. Most hoplites wore leather body armor. It's starting. It's starting. Holy Spirit, quiet, man. I'm like nervous, man. What the fuck? Dude, the sound of thousands of men marching, man, that must be wow. I remember as a kid, maybe you had the same. The first time I was kind of starting to get interested in ancient battles was Helm's Deep. I was a kid and I saw the Battle of Helm's Deep. 10,000 Uruk-hai marching. And I was like, whoa! Oh! What the fuck? And it's crazy that as I got older, you kind of realize that 10,000 Uruk-hai is in the great scheme of things, especially like human history, not even that much. That's not even that crazy, dude. As a kid, 10,000 Uruk-hai was like, I thought there's 10,000 people on the planet. I didn't even fucking know. But when you get older, you realize it's not even that much.
Raise shields! On the wall!
Bruh. I say this all the time on streams, man. Imagine having the privilege of seeing this stuff in real life, man. No, Nali, 9. He says technically it's tens of thousands. No, I know for a fact it was 10,000 Uruk-hai, man. I researched that shit so much as a kid. If you look at all the sources, 10,000 Uruk-hai in Helm's Deep. Not 90,000, 10,000. There's sources are there, man. 100%. Don't you act like there's 100,000 Uruk-hai, man. That's bullshit. It was 10,000. In Bannerlord it was like 100,000 orcs. Or total combatants. 10,000 people is 140 with. Imagine seeing this in real life, man. I often think what we don't see in like movies and stuff, that in real life these battles were very, very grindy. You have a front line and they just push each other and just kill each other for hours, man. It's not like ta-da-da-da, you're fucking dead. No, it's they fight for hours, dude. You're probably gonna get bored after 2 hours because nothing happens. And you just see a lot of gore and blood. In real life, the biggest problem was that soldiers actually didn't kill each other. Yeah, because they were just putting their shields against each other, huh? Until one side collapses. These battles could last for days. Jesus. And then, yeah, I feel like, dude, imagine throwing one Molotov cocktail over the line. With some kind of burning stuff. Pretty good animation, man. But I read that, right? And you guys were probably, because you guys are all experts, battles were not like this. Battles were more, you had two shield walls just pushing each other. This free roaming fighting like this, like in movies, often did not even happen. After, well, when they broke and the cleanup started, that's when this happened, when you just freely cleaned up everything. This is actually very unhistorical. No shit. Okay, boys, let me clean my hands, and then we're gonna have a final push for World of Warcraft, aka something. Yeah. 1 sec. I just gotta click this. I'm back in a sec. That's what on that corner. Yeah, I rather watch like the armchair historian, dude. This is cool if you're like 12, but this is just, you know, we like historical, don't we? Okay, I have 10 minutes left. Let's keep pushing the war a bit. I killed that. We're gonna look into this. Let's make an opening. Let's go. The Romans will rotate men in the front line of battle while fighting. Can you play Total War 1 2 in the future? Right now we have a 4.8k sub goal of Shogun 2. Let's try that first. Can you please watch this? Can you watch that? No. Because the next episode, my dear gentlemen, dude, I'm an expert on this one. The next episode, my dear chat, episode 3 of Tommy Reacts to Fights Cause his reaction and the bitch, is motherfucking, here we go. Oh shit, there's a picture of the Battle of Marathon? Holy cool, oh, that's so cool. Oh fuck. You can see how the Greeks, they went very thin, so they can keep up with how many Persians there were. Oh fuck, that's so cool. And then the book even tells you what happened before. That is so cool. There's even what happened before and afterwards. Cool. Lochimedes has made the middle of his army weaker, so he can encircle the That's so cool. I didn't see that. But you owe the history book? Fuck off. You don't even... Shut up. Gentlemen. Wait, there's another page of Marathon? Alter. The Marathon one was called PDPdes, by the way. Okay, here we go. Next episode is... 300 Spartans, guys. The Battle of TommyKay, bro. 300 Spartans, man.